All right, I was tagged by Stephen Ford over there at Hiking Deep. He likes to ambush tag me, he says. Anyway, this is a continuation of the Series 6 Shit Hits the Fan tag that was going around that he started. Let me get my notes here. Live to Survive actually extended this tag with the Series 6 questions, you and yours. So in a shit hits the fan situation, let's get started here though. Question number 1. Have you tried to get your family, friends, neighbors on board for preparations concerning a shit hits the fan situation or scenario? What was the response? Well, I've got family members who are on board with that and do prep to a degree. No, it's not like they're, you know, money can only do so much. Now, with things, you know, getting things to have, you know, if you want to have storage supplies and things like that, and ammunition and firearms and things, it takes money, you know, and all of us are not made of money. And so we do have several things though, but it's not just about things though, it's about skills. And it seems like I'm the only one who actually really does have some like outdoor skills. Some of my family has some outdoor skills though. I mean, I've taken it to a further degree than they have and practice it and things like that. But they do, because I mean, we all grew up in rural areas and country, so we kind of have that, some of it already, you know. But as far as like stockpiling things like food and stuff, there we do, but you know, it's not like we have a bunker full of it for the next 10 years, you know what I'm saying? So but yes, my family, you know, primarily my wife's family, which are really that I'm closest with, because one is that they're just good people, and two, they're in proximity closer too. They're very close. I mean, I have a brother-in-law who lives less than a mile down the road right here. So, and he's really the one that's on board with it more and pays attention to it more than my other brother-in-law, but he does too though, to a point. But neighbors, you know, I've got one neighbor they're kind of aware of things, and they know what's, you know, I think that they do have a network for themselves. You know, they're a church family and things like that, so they kind of spend their time with that and that group, and they're good people, you know. And I don't have any doubt that if something happened and became a neighborhood situation, that they would be one you can rely on, and they can rely on you, you know, as well, because they can rely on me, because they're just good people, everything. Now, a neighbor on the other side, you hardly ever see them anyway. You know, they've been there for years, you just hardly ever see them. They never even hardly come out of their house. So, you know, I don't know, I don't think so at all. Who knows? I mean, I don't know them that well, even though they've been there for, you know, 8 or 9 years. They just never socially mingle, you know, with, you know, talk very much about anything, you know. For all I know, they could have a stockpile of, you know, food and weapons and all kinds of stuff, but from the type of people they seem to be, I doubt it. But, you know, at the same time, that would be the ultimate disguise, you know. But I doubt it, and I don't think you could rely on them, and I just don't think that you know, anything. I think they would, if anything happened, I think they'd be gone. I think the neighbors, the other side of the neighbors, would probably actually be gone to go with their group. maybe, you know. But family, it's hard to talk to some of my family about it because I just don't think that they even think about it. They don't care. They don't. It's something that they don't think about, you know. So yeah, there goes that idea on some of that. But yeah, I do have family that does, family that doesn't. You know, friends that do, friends that don't. But it's just one of those things. Anyway, number 2. Shithead's fan has occurred, and your friends, family, neighbors who didn't prepare want to suddenly join you. How to determine if and or who joins? Well, kind of goes along the, let me take a drink here of coffee. There's some family and friends and neighbors who, oh yeah, I don't want them to join. I don't want them to, because I think that some of them would be weak links. Now, having said that though, something that Stephen said in his video is that if you do allow somebody to join, is to try to find their strength in something that they can do to contribute to the situation, which is a great idea. And because everybody has different skills, I mean, you know, to be honest, you know, one of the neighbors that I say that doesn't seem like they prep or anything like that, they do grow a garden, and they do very well with it. You know, they do, it looks nice, it grows, thrives, and produces. So I mean, that is a skill that can be very helpful and can be taught. But there are, you know, some family and friends and things like that that I wouldn't want, you know, but it'd have to be, you know, a lot of this stuff is based on the type of situation and the type of shit hits the fan situation, the events that are happening. But there's, you know, people are people, and you deal with weak links all the time. There could be mental illness. You know, you don't want to have to deal with something on top of a bad situation already, while, you know, compounding it, making it worse, and even, you know, giving you away and making, you know what I'm saying. I mean, just, you don't want to have any fights and disagreements within your own situation group, because the anxiety is already going to be right here no matter what's going on. So, but you know, it's, you have to turn them away. You know, you cannot be afraid to turn them away, because sometimes you just cannot feasibly take care of everybody else. This is what I tell, you know, my wife and things like that, is that we cannot take care of everybody as much as you want to, because my wife and her family are very generous, giving people. I mean, they don't have a lot themselves, and they will give the shirt off their back to help others, and that's admirable, and it's a quality, and one of the qualities I love about my wife and her family. And they will do anything for people. But when it comes down to life and death, basically, you cannot take care of everybody. You cannot help everybody. As much as you may want to, you just cannot feasibly do it. Whether it be resources or your time or your attention, you cannot just do it. You know, people have to take care of themselves, and that's, you know, you have to be able to do that. There's maybe certain situations where you can allow a little bit of people coming in or whatever, but they really have to pull their own weight too at the same time. But you know, you cannot feasibly take care of everybody. It's just the way it is, you know. Can't. Anyway, question number 3. If you allow others to join and they don't pull their weight within the group, what do you do? Allow them to stay or deal with it? B, pull them out on their own, see other. Like Stephen said, like I said earlier too, though, is that, you know, you try to find the strength that they can contribute to if you allow them to stay. If it does not work out, put them out. I mean, you put them out and send them on the road, down the road. Now, something he did mention, though, is which is a very good thought, is that if you put somebody out who's been within your group for a bit, they know what kind of resources you have, your supplies, your security, all that stuff. So if they are sent out and they go down the road and they end up joining some other group, and some other group wants to like start raiding and stuff, then this person knows everything about your group. So that could be a bad situation right there, you know. And see other is you just, you know, put them down. I mean, really, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, if you're really in a shit situation and it's life or death, survival, and it comes to your family, your wife, your kids, I mean, what are you gonna do? I mean, if it's that bad where it comes down to it, it's either you or them. I mean, seriously, think about that. I mean, you know, I don't think anybody really wants to do something like that, but it's much easier to live with stopping somebody else from harming your family than not acting and your family being harmed. It's harder to live with that than it would be to put somebody down. I could deal with that easier knowing that I protected my family. So yeah, that's an option. 4. During shit hits the fan, you start running out of food, what do you do? Well, that's where important, you know, it comes with the skills of learning to live off the land, knowing what kind of wild plant edibles and things like that that you can eat, gardening skills of some type, hunting. Now, hunting with a bow and arrow or a, you know, a pellet rifle or something for small game like squirrels and rabbits and things like that would be great. You know, you all know that I have an AR-15. You know that you watch my videos, you've seen me shoot it, review it, all that kind of stuff. I've owned those. You know, heavy, you know, more powerful guns. You know, rifles. So I mean, you can't really go shoot a squirrel or a rabbit with an AR-15 or an AK-47 because you're just gonna pretty much blow them apart. And you don't want that because you're gonna ruin your meat. Just blow the thing apart. You won't have anything left, really. That's where a good airsoft, or not airsoft, but or you know, well, it could be an airsoft, but it just depends how powerful it is. But a good pellet rifle, and for that, for hunting small game. One thing is too is that if you're in a group and you're like trying to remain stealthy, and you want to not be noticed by anybody, you know, and if you see a deer right there and you have your rifle, the heavy caliber, you know, bullet in there, you're gonna make a lot of noise. You're gonna bring attention to yourself, and people are gonna know exactly where you're at. So, you know, a bow and arrow, which, you know, you got to become pretty proficient with that to do it. And then you know, a pellet gun for small game. You can set up wire traps, you know, snares and things like that. All those primitive skills, that's where primitive stuff comes in because you want to remain stealthy. Now, you could go scavenge. You can scavenge. I'm not above that. I would do it. You know, abandoned homes and things like that, for anything that you can find that could improve your situation, because that's kind of really everything about is improving your situation. To be more comfortable, to be more fed, to be, you know, all that kind of stuff. So that's that's a lot, you know, that's a lot to think about on that kind of thing, you know, because there's a lot to it all. Anyway, question number 5. During shit hits the fan, what's your greatest fear for you and your family? Example: A, gangs; B, marauders; C, cannibals. I'm not too worried about the cannibals. That's more of a Hollywood thing, but it would happen. It has happened. If it ever got that bad, then, you know, it's crazy. You know, I mean, it's that crazy. But gangs would be my biggest, you know, fear, because there would be a large number of people who are probably armed, and they're waiting. You know, they'll kill you, they'll rape you, they'll do whatever, you know, your wives, your daughters, your sons, because there's a bunch of sick people out there. But that's what ultimately happens. They'll just kill you. You know, kill you for whatever they can get, you know. Kill you for the dollar, you know, change in your pocket, you know, that can of beans. But yeah, the roving gangs would be the biggest fear. But that's why you arm yourself with something, you know. Firearms aren't a guarantee in a shit hits the fan situation, or any situation, life and death. But it levels the playing field, gives you a chance to maybe survive the whole thing. So you put an end to the threat, you know. Question number 6. Shit hits the fan and society is without law. Do you join a gang or hide out and fend for yourself? I'm not going to join a gang. You know, I know that some of my immediate family, we would all get to the bug out location and kind of hold up there as best we could, unless we had to bug out farther, you know. But as right now, that's the plan, to get there. Now, but I wouldn't join a gang. No, I'd rather be fend for ourselves, you know, that way, because where we'd go, there's a property there, you know. There's wild game, there's plants, there's fruit trees growing, there's all kinds of stuff. So that's where we'd be going, and it's out of town a ways. You can even walk to it. You know, it's several miles out of town, but it's walking distance if you had to do it. Like an EMP or something happened, you know, and killed all the electricity and everything. But that's what I do. Because I'd rather fend for myself than to join a gang, because, you know, you're adding an element of dealing with people, and people are people, you know. God love them, but man, people are people. That's all you can really say, you know. People are people, and there's all kinds of things you have to take into consideration. There's attitudes, egos, jealousy, mental illness, you know, things like that that can give away leader position, you know. I mean, just, you know, people trying to take over, don't like the structure of like a group of something, you know, like a command structure or something like that, because, you know, I mean, or just gang in general, you know, where you're just roving around killing people and taking what they want, you know. No, not gonna do that. But all right, camera died, but I had to go back and look and see where exactly I left off. But that's pretty much really at the end of what I was saying. These questions are, you know, so detailed oriented, though, that you could spend an hour talking about each question. There's so much that can go into each one. It depends on the situation. It depends on the type of shit hits the fan situation. Pretty much, you know, if everybody goes nuts, everybody goes nuts. It doesn't really matter whether it's a, you know, whatever situation happens, whatever type. But yeah, each one, I mean, this video could easily be 2 hours long, you know, easily, because there's so much that can be detailed into each question. And this is, you know, these are, it's hard to just briefly touch on each question. And I'm just going off the cuff, you know, too. It's not, I don't have anything planned out like what I could say, because like right now, already just thinking about the stuff, I could go back over these 6 questions and have even more detailed, you know, things like that. But that, you know, like I said, I don't want it to be a 2-hour video, because I can ramble on kind of like I am now. But you know, it's good to sit down and talk to people like this, you know, and talk to others who have this same mindset, because you can throw ideas back at each other. You can get, you know, it's like here on YouTube, watching everybody's answers. When they answer these questions, you can learn from them as well, and you know, we can all learn from each other. But like I said, you can sit down and, you know, it's best to sit down and talk to people like this. But that's just some brief explanations of some of those questions. And I like the serious stuff, I do. And thanks, Stephen, for tagging me in this. And I'm going to tag 2 people. I'm going to tag Survival Theory, and I'm going to tag Kansas Prepper. Both of them got some pretty cool channels, pretty cool guys, and I'd like to hear their thoughts on this too. But I'm just going to do those 2 as tags. You're under no obligation to do it. But I like the serious stuff, because, you know, it's something that I think about, and it's something I think about often, actually. So, but anyway, that's my questions, my answers to the questions. The Serious 6, you and yours. Continuation. Keep it heavy.